And as I squatted down with my legs spread, Delynn came up behind me and kicked me as hard as she could in the nuts. The tip of her fucking shoe came around the front. I could actually see it as her foot crushed my one good right nut.
Did you ever see that movie? Did you ever see that movie? Did you ever see that movie?
Welcome to Hey, did you ever see that movie? I'm your host, Des, and as always, I'm joined by my angry co-host, Delynn.
Fuck you.
And back again, the podcaster with the munchies, Pat.
Never bogart another man's bong.
Or rub his rhubarb. Today, we will be discussing the 1996 comedy Kingpin, starring Woody Harrelson, Randy Quaid, Vanessa Angel, and the great Bill Murray. As always, this podcast will contain spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it, then come back and listen to the podcast. But before we get into it, let's run the trailer.
From the idiots that brung you Dumb and Dumber,
You wouldn't happen to have a Phillips head screwdriver, would you?
he's the man with the rubber hand.
Creepy.
He's the Amish kid with the golden arm.
Whoa! You could be a champion. I'm just not interested. You suck!
Now, these two pinheads will teach each other
You just feel it.
about life in the fast lane.
You're about to embark on a great adventure.
Does anyone else want one?
I'll take a couple jugs. Mugs.
Woody Harrelson, what have you been doing all these years?
Drinking.
Randy Quaid,
This is pretty good fun for only $2.99 a minute.
Vanessa Angel,
Get your hands off me!
and Big Bad Bill Murray. On July 26th,
Watch the door.
get your mind in the gutter.
I will pay you $1 million to sleep with your friend here.
Kingpin.
Are you still drinking?
No. I don't. That's behind me now. Why are you buying?
All right, guys, so I've got a nice, fun little segment I've added to the show. We're going to run out tonight, and it's called Dez's 5 Fun, Possibly Fake Facts.
Oh, God, no.
Fact number 1, Kingpin cost $25 million to make and grossed $32.2 million at the box office. So I'm going to say that this movie was not considered a success. What do you guys think?
No, I think that they'd want to make more than that.
Yeah, they'd probably want to win a little bit more than that at the box office.
I'm quite sure that this did very well in DVD sales and stuff like that, though. I'm sure they made a ton of money on the back end because this is a cult classic. Number 2, Chris Farley was supposed to play the role of Ishmael, but he was contracted to do Black Sheep at the time, so they went with Randy Quaid. What do you guys think of Chris Farley in this part?
Nah.
What do you think?
Nah.
Yeah.
All I can see is a big roly-poly guy trying to bowl. And it's just not working.
Yeah.
That actually makes a ton of sense. Like he wouldn't look fit enough to do it. Now, granted, when you go later to the tournament and they're all fat.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, like you're like,
Athletes.
oh, you could probably believe it. But I mean, honestly, I liked Chris Farley and everything. He was funny, but
I don't want that falling down crazy guy. I think that Randy Quaid was just perfect for this role. Randy Quaid had to convince Bill Murray to appear in the movie, which is maybe why we're not getting as much Bill Murray as I want. I want more Ernie McCracken in this movie, just my opinion.
But that's interesting. Now, if Chris Farley had gotten the role, does that mean there would have been no Bill Murray? So who would have
Possibly.
played McCracken?
Possibly. I get the impression that Bill Murray did this half-heartedly, and I didn't read that anywhere, but it just feels like they purposely maybe wrote him into the movie sparingly. I don't know. Because when he was on the screen, I'm loving this movie. When he's not on the screen, I'm liking this movie a lot. So, and number 5, Bill Murray improv, and this goes back to the last one. Bill Murray improv almost all of his lines for this movie. He almost had no script, so they let him just wing it. So again, I don't know how much he wanted to be in this movie. He might have been like, "Yeah, I'll do it to keep my roll down to a minimum, and I don't want a script." And I do have a sixth. I'm already breaking my rules. So today it's going to be Dez's sixth fun and possibly fake facts. Bill Murray did roll the final 3 strikes to win the tournament at the end. He actually rolled those strikes. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I hate to be the one to tell you this, but you skipped number 4.
All right. So number 4. Woody Harrelson actually shaved his head and grew that comb over in. That's real. Yeah. Talk about commitment to the craft.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly thought it was a piece. So
Nope. He grew that
horrible.
beautiful. Yeah, he grew that beautiful head of hair out for the movie, and
That
then he
was
fucking
horrifying.
shaved the top of it and combed it over.
That's crazy.
And I have here, Delin takes over.
I wrote that because
I saw
I'm
that.
in the document. So I'm letting you know that's my spot.
All right, so Delin is now in the driver's seat.
All right, so I'm going to hit you with a synopsis.
Hit us with it.
Roy Munson was raised to be the best bowler in the world, trained early by his father. But a fellow bowler, Ernie McCracken, and a misunderstanding with some rough punks leaves poor Roy with the loss of his bowling hand. Not to let this get him down, which he does, but okay.
Not the way. Okay.
He gets a prosthetic hand and becomes a traveling salesman. That's from IMDb. That's a terrible synopsis. I should have read that ahead of
I was gonna
time.
say, he doesn't let it get him down. I mean, he's an alcoholic and he's going down on a troll, but yeah, no worries. Oh, you know who the landlord reminds me of? She's kind of a combination of the woman who played Marion in Indiana Jones and the one who played Lois Lane in the Superman
Stop
movie,
it.
combined into one woman.
Stop it. That's terrible. That's
know.
somebody is going to come and punch you out for that.
Eventually.
They're really not that bad looking. And you know who this is. She's in Something About Mary, too.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
She's in, yeah,
Lynn
she's great.
Shay. Lynn Shay.
Yeah.
She's amazing. You
They
wouldn't
really
even
dress
recognize
her-
her if you saw her in real life.
Yeah, they really dress her down for this one. Woo!
Oh,
Well, I knew she looked familiar, but in this movie, she was horrifying.
yeah. No, she's
yeah.
Magda from Something About Mary, the
Yeah.
lady with the crazy tan.
Yeah. Yeah, and the plastic boobs.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Well, they're not real, clearly.
No.
I hope not. If they are, I apologize, Lynn Shay. Anyways.
boy.
Because she's listening.
Oh my goodness. So what I was going to say when you introduced me was this great quote. You're on a gravy train with biscuit wheels. I love that quote.
That's a great line.
And if that's a Bill Murray, like just shooting off the cuff, love it.
Well, you replaced it with Des, fuck you. So I'm sure all our listeners approve.
I mean, you called
Absolutely.
me the angry podcaster or whatever you called me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you deserve
I don't know
that.
where the hell that came from.
Well, it's because you don't live here.
It's a little
Oh,
clearer.
man. Yeah, it was fun getting ready for tonight's performance.
Oh, I can't wait for the backstory.
Oh,
There may
hey.
have been a couple of F-bombs dropped. Anyway, let's do this thing.
So our movie opens in Ocelot, Iowa in 1969 at the Munson service station. A young Roy Munson, played by Woody Harrelson, and his dad, played by Daniel Green, practice bowling behind the service station. Flashing forward, we find ourselves in 1979, where a grown Roy enters a bowling alley as a big shot bowler, showing off his amateur championship ring to the crowd before rolling a perfect strike. The next day, he says goodbye to his dad and friends before leaving for the pro bowling tour. His dad gives him a broken gold pocket watch, saying it might help him if he runs into trouble on the road. So, Pat, I'm not sure if I've ever pegged bowling as the key to anyone's future, but it seems like Roy has a decent start here.
Yeah, he was happy and popular, and that seemed to be at his prime in the smallest town in the country.
In the world.
Unbelievable. It was pretty funny. Whenever you see movies that are set in a time period, you always got to give props to the people who put this together for the clothes, the hairstyles, the cars,
Yeah.
everything was, and I'm like flashing back in time. I'm like, wow, man, that people really dress like this? Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the one thing I want to make comment on, and I didn't pick up on this until I saw it the second or third time, is when Roy walks into the bowling alley and he grabs the piece of pizza off the plate.
Yeah.
Everybody's cheering and everything is good and he's eating the pizza. And then let's fast forward to the end. And they do a callback to that scene. He's walking into it, but the guy walking in, what the hell are you doing? Give me that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is not teenage Roy's world anymore.
I love the striking rolls too, because the ball gets about halfway down and then he drops into that perfect split and he points his hand forward and then the ball takes off again and strikes.
When I saw that throw, and I've done some 10-pin bowling. When I saw that throw and the ball stops halfway down, still spinning, and then he gives it the go sign, and then the ball takes off towards the pins, I knew from that moment on, this was going to be a very silly movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was not really working in the world of physics.
Yeah. Fun fact. So the best man at our wedding, this is a real fact. The best man at our wedding, his older sister, Joanne, was actually a professional candlepin bowler. And we used to watch her on ESPN play. So, yeah, she was kind of a big deal, which is interesting.
Fun fact.
Me. Yeah, fun fact.
Fun fact, I once knew somebody on ESPN.
Yes, I did.
All right. So now we go to the championship, and a voiceover is laying it on thick while Roy is sweating it out, trying to win the Odor Eaters tournament. But it's not the commentator. It's Ernie McCracken, played by Bill Murray. He's Roy's opponent, and if Roy makes the strike, he wins. Despite the heckling, Roy rolls a strike for the win. After he leaves, he experiences car trouble, and he's found that somebody's put sugar in his gas tank, and it will cost him at least $2,000 to fix it. Coincidentally, or not so much, Ernie shows up and tells him he knows a way to make some money on the side, and that would get his car fixed. Later that evening, Ernie and Roy enter a seedy bowling alley with the intention of hustling some locals. After successfully ripping them off, Roy and Ernie are confronted by those angry bowlers, and Ernie tricks Roy into getting out of the car before taking off, leaving Roy to face the music in his place. The angry men take Roy back into the alley where they remove his bowling hand by sticking it into the ball return. So, Des, that's a really tough turn of events for our Roy.
Yeah, I fucking love this fucking scene when you're hearing Bill Murray's voice and then you realize it's Bill Murray sitting next to fucking Roy. I literally laughed out loud. I've watched this line, a million times, which is why I'm using it for the intro of today's show. Yeah, super funny. This is great. I love the outfits. I love Bill Murray. It's just awesome, man. It's really great. And then this scene where he takes them, actually the breakfast scene when they're having breakfast and he's, telling him the rules, this is how we do it in the pros. We make money on the side. Are you interested? And he's like, we're interested? Yeah, interested. Like, do you want to do it? Do it? And he said, and fucking, he keeps trying to eat this fucking porridge. And finally, Bill Murray's like, take that outside and eat it. And then come back inside. And he looks over at the old lady. He's like, hi. And the lady goes, hi. He goes, no, not you. Hi. I love Big Ern McCracken.
That's also when he says to the waitress, why don't you wipe off that perfume before you come back? It's like, oh my God. And
fucking great.
What is he drinking? Tab and Tanqueray?
Tab and Tanqueray. And keep him coming. It's a long drive.
Yeah, keep it coming. I got a long drive ahead of me. And then
Tab.
When they go into the bowling alley and they're doing the old dictionary salesman, oh my God. Go ahead. You want to blow your whole bonus? You go ahead and blow it. Fucking that whole thing was just fucking great. Father, please help me. Yeah, I'm a priest. Like you're a fucking dictionary salesman.
I was not a fan of Ernie McCracken. You know how I feel about arrogant characters or arrogant people. They're like the lowest of low. And everything about Ernie he was nothing but a dickhead from the word go. But I loved the best part of Ernie was when they were pretending to be the salesman.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was when I liked Ernie, because he just shoveled that load of shit so deep, it was hysterical.
Oh,
And I'm
Also-
tired of using that word, but it was so funny. He's for $700? No, not $700. He reaches into Roy's pocket and yanks all his money out. You want to do this? We're going to do this for $1,500. How does he go from making fun of him to spending all his money?
Yeah.
oh, it's fucking great.
Let's also not gloss over the fact that there's a bag of sugar in Ernie's backseat.
Oh, and I love it. And he says, "That's my morning coffee."
It's like,
There comes a day in every bowler's life when they have to face the music. And today, that bowler is you. And he steps on the gas.
Oh,
And-
such a dickhead.
Oh,
Yeah.
and the little guy in the wheelchair making that like perverted face as he's turning on the fucking ball machine.
Ugh.
Oh, so good.
No, never mind his partner when they first went in there and he's talking to him and he had that tick where he became,
Oh, yeah.
well, so you're going to,
No, it's
I was like,
the way
oh
I
my
see
God,
it,
where did this
you are-
guy come from?
you owe us another $100.
oh my God.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
loved it.
he had electric shock therapy. And he just, every once in a while, he couldn't help but twitch.
What was interesting too with this movie was, for a movie that is a slapstick Farley Brothers movie, there were some moments in it where it had some heart. Like, for instance, I really liked the scene with Roy and his father in the beginning when he's getting ready to leave and he gives him the pocket watch. It
Yeah.
had a genuine feel to it. It was nice. And there's a couple other ones we're gonna get, like where Claudia says to Roy when he's down, "No, you look real sharp," when they're going back to his hometown. So
And he
there were a
looked
couple
like
of-
hell.
Oh, he looked like hell, but it played nice. I thought that there were some nice, genuine moments in this movie, which were a little out of place in the movie, but it just added another layer to it that I liked.
Honestly, I think you need that in a movie like this because this is what I call gross out comedy. A lot of it, the jokes are at the expense of being gross.
Mhm.
And the Farrelly brothers do that on the reg, and you kind of expect it. But I think without those moments of some genuineness, it would just be a big gross out joke. And what's the point of watching 2 hours of that, right?
Right.
Oh,
Agreed.
absolutely. And I just remembered as we're talking when you were saying the word gross, did we forget to mention the scene after Roy made it with his landlord?
Oh, we haven't
God.
gotten there yet.
Oh my God. When you say gross,
Yeah.
as soon as he said, "Is there anything I can do to work it off?" I knew where it was going.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
when you see her with the cigarette and him throwing up in the toilet.
Yeah,
Oh
we're about to
my
get into that
God.
scene right here.
All right, go ahead.
So it's 17 years later in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and our hook-handed Roy is down on his luck. He's selling bowling supplies to alleys that don't really want to buy anything. But on one of these stops, he sees a man named Ishmael played by Randy Quaid, and he's bowling, and he's actually pretty talented. Seeing an opportunity here, he tries to convince Ishmael to let him manage him. But the only problem is Ishmael is Amish, and he's not interested. Leaving defeated, he returns home where he stages a purse snatching on his landlady, played by Lynn Shay, where he can act like a hero. She falls for it initially, but then sees Roy talking with a robber and the jig is up. She says she'll call the cops or he can pay off what he owes with sex. Let's just say that her hygiene is questionable, so it's not exactly an easy ask. After they're done, she reminds him that that he still owes her a month's worth of rent. There you go, Pat. There's your gross scene. It's pretty nasty.
Oh, she was horrifying. Horrifying.
Mhm.
And Roy's bowing to the porcelain god after the fact was
Wrenching.
perfect. Absolutely. Because I can't even begin to fathom what he did
Mm.
without gagging
Wrenching into the toilet.
multiple
and the-
times.
And the varicose veins on her legs as she's putting her stockings back on. Oh,
Just made him throw up again.
Ugh.
I think you jarred something loose, Tiger.
Oh, dear.
Ew.
What is it? What is it about rough sex that makes me have to take a crap?
Oh, God, I loved
I
it.
think you jarred something loose.
Oh, and dude, and the fucking scene where his buddy who has staged the robbery is in his kitchen, and he goes, "That coffee wasn't even hot." And then the pot is whistling, and he makes the new cup of coffee. He's like, "Ooh!" He almost burns his lips on the glass. "Ooh, now that's hot." Before he whips it in the.
Then he turns around and throws it in his face.
Friend's face.
I fucking love that. I thought that was fucking
that
great.
was Billy Garson, by the way, the robber.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
he
I
was
recognized
on
him.
Sex and the City and some other things.
Yeah, I've recognized him. I believe he was in was he in Something About Mary also?
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, he plays the doctor who is friends with Mary, who knows Mary, basically.
Right.
He's the one that tells Ben Stiller, "Yeah, I saw her at a convention. She's a doctor." Yeah.
Right.
So I recognized him from that.
You recognized him from Sex and the City.
Oh, I definitely recognize from Sex and the City because I've seen every episode and all the movies. Fun fact, I'm gay. Well, movie
Well,
gay.
that explains it.
Movie gay. I like gay movies.
Except you haven't watched Magic Mike yet.
Oh, I've seen Magic Mike, just not to the end, because you know what happens if you watch Magic Mike to the end.
You're gay.
You're gay. We shut it off with like 5 minutes to go.
Needing money, Roy heads to the Amish community, pretending to be one of them in hopes of luring Ishmael into a bowling tournament in Reno, Nevada with a top prize of $1 million. After some slapstick on the Amish farm, we find out that the community is actually in need of $500,000 to save their land from foreclosure. So they give Ishmael permission to go to Nevada to win the money. Des, we don't have a cow, but we do have a bull.
Oh, dear God.
Took some work, but I got it going. Oh, my God. Yeah. The whole Amish scene, it was okay. I mean, if I watch this movie again, and when I do watch this movie, I usually kind of fast forward through this part because, he cuts off the horse's feet when he's changing his shoes.
Yeah, I didn't
That's
like that part. That was
insane.
gross.
I know you were saying that you like to fast forward through the Amish scene,
Yes.
but when I watched this movie the first time, I knew it was just going to be silly, and I didn't watch it completely. I watched half of it one day, the other half the next day, and then I watched it. Oh yeah, and then I watched it again this morning, and I realized it's actually funnier the second time around because now you know what's coming, and you actually anticipate the laugh. Mm-hmm. You can't fast forward through the Amish scene for multiple reasons. Ishmael comes in from the farm, from the fields, kisses his grandmother, and is picking hair off his tongue and lips as he's sitting down. 2, the dog plays tug of war with Roy's rubber hand. And when he releases the hand, Roy slaps himself in the face.
I laughed out loud. I watched it again today. I laughed out loud. It was great.
I was stoned out of my skull. I watched it 3 times in a row, and I couldn't stop laughing.
Also, it was funny earlier when he was talking to Ishmael and he was counting the reasons why Ishmael would want to work with him. And he was like bending the fingers back.
Yeah.
Bending the rubber fingers back. I was like, oh, that's just so good.
Go ahead.
And one final part, because I realized most of the funniest scenes in this movie all had to do with Roy and his hand. Yeah. So you can't go past the Amish scene because you can't miss him nailing his hand to the board while watching the girl walk by.
It's funny. No, I mean I've seen this movie probably a dozen times. So I mean I'm just talking about now, But yeah, no, I mean, if you're watching this for a second time, you're gonna leave it on during these parts.
Never mind the look of all the other Amish workers next to him, all shaking their head as he waves at the girl with the board stuck to his hand with a nail.
Yep,
It's all funny.
There was just so much silliness. I've never watched a comedy where I thought it was funnier the second or third time around.
Yeah, because usually once you know the joke, you're not surprised by it and don't laugh as hard, but
and I picked up on some things. Of course I can't remember them now, but I picked up on some things the second or third time that I missed the first time.
Oh God,
that's great.
Yeah, I love when they're when he's trying to convince Ishmael to work with him, and He's like, you need a manager. I'll be your friend. I'll always be there for you. He's like, sorry, Mr. Munson, I'm just not interested. You're a fucking loser. You're never going anywhere. And he'll pull that a couple of times in this movie where Roy flip-flops on Ishmael. Which
Roy was my favorite character of them all.
Yeah, no, for me, it's Bigger and McCracken. I thought Bill Murray was in rare form in this movie. I really loved the character.
This is why you and I, when we talk movies, are always on opposite sides of the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Because you like arrogant, obnoxious characters.
That's because I am an arrogant, obnoxious character.
And I detest them, and you.
Perfect.
Tell us how you really feel, Pat.
Oh, that's perfect.
Hey, don't open the door if you don't want me to walk through.
I love it. I love it. This isn't news to me. Keep going.
Next.
Yeah,
oh, my Lord.
All right, give us the next scene.
All right, on we go.
Onward and upward.
Oh, and I would just like to say that my favorite character in this movie are the comb-overs of both Woody Harrelson and Bill Murray.
I agree. Great.
Some fantastic flopping of comb-overs happening in the last scene that just
that scene just happens to be rolling across screen now. And as the final match goes on, the hair.
Yeah.
My God,
it's like
think someone. It looked like someone from Don King's makeup crew did their hair. Holy crap!
Yeah, both of them with the crazy comb overs. They're flopping in the wind. It's fantastic.
But knowing that Woody Harrelson actually did that, I mean, that takes balls, man. Yeah. That takes balls to shave your head like that.
Not to mention that means that in his day-to-day life, he was walking around like that.
Yes, he was. This is my thought on hair. I feel like you can have a thick head of hair, right? But if you shave your head bald, you're fucked. It's never growing back the same. You're asking for baldness. I would never. I mean, I look like Davy Crockett. I'm lucky. My hair is so thick, it's like a fucking Davy Crockett hat. But I don't even know if I would be immune to that. I think if I shaved my head bald, it would grow back receding. Ooh.
Oh, I don't know.
Man, I'm the one that's supposed to be stoned here. Where the hell are you going with this?
Oh, no.
I don't think that would happen to you because I've seen you scalp yourself a couple of times when you're trying to cut your own hair and it's grown back just fine.
Oh, God.
My gosh.
I love it.
The humanity.
The humanity of it.
All right. So after Roy turns Ishmael onto cigarettes and coffee, the Amish bowler gets beat by a club bowler and reveals to an angry Roy that he's used to playing 15 frames, not 10, because that's how his grandpa taught him. Roy decides to take Ishmael back home, but Ish asks to be let out, and he's going to try to go to Reno on his own so he can save the farm for his family. Thinking about what is waiting for him at home, namely his landlady, Roy decides to continue training Ishmael and go to Reno. So we've got a montage here of Ishmael getting better and Roy teaching him. And Roy decides it's time to try the dictionary salesman scam again, since they still need money to get to Reno with. The guy at the bowling alley gives them an address and says to be there at midnight and bring cash. They follow his directions and find themselves at a mansion. Roy has brought fake money wrapped in a real $100 bill. Stanley, played by Rob Moran, owns the mansion and knows that Roy is a hustler, but he still wants to bowl against Ish for money. Stanley loses, and his girlfriend Claudia, played by Vanessa Angel, is fresh with him. He takes her out of the room and hits her. When he returns, he goes to pay Roy, but sees the fake money and attacks him instead, telling his goon to take Ish out back and cut off his hand. Claudia cuts the lights and escapes with Roy and Ish, but not before she sticks a knife into the tire of Stanley's fancy red car. So, Pat, serve Stanley right for hitting Claudia, if you ask me.
Stanley has to be one of the most pretentious douchebags I've ever seen. The skunk streak in the hair was bad enough. But what the fuck is with the eyeliner? Holy crap. I thought he was trying to be a raccoon.
Yeah. He reminded me of Gavin.
Gavin Rossdale?
Yes, he reminds me of Gavin Rossdale from Bush.
Yeah, he does a lot.
I can see that.
Was Bush popular at this point? Maybe that was the point. They were trying to make him look like that.
I don't know. Wasn't
When did
born
this
with
movie
your
come out?
96.
96. Yeah, Bush was. I think Bush
Yeah,
was big
Bush
at
was
the
in the
time.
90s.
That's probably why they dressed
That's
him up like
probably
that.
why. That would make sense. But where I think I was trying to remember. I know the name Vanessa Angel, who played Claudia.
Yes.
Wasn't she in a movie with Chevy Chase?
Oh, I don't know.
Spies Like Us, maybe?
No, I don't think she was in Spies Like Us.
I don't know. I saw her somewhere, and the
I'm
name
checking
sounds
her
familiar.
her IMDb as we speak. Let's see. I don't see Spies Like Us.
I wasn't born with your hand in my bush, Earl.
Oh God!
Dear Lord, help us.
Where did I miss that one?
It was in
Well-
Neighbors. It wasn't in this movie.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
right.
we were
Earl.
talking about Bush, so I figured, what the hell?
Okay, good connection there.
Oh, no, she wasn't Spies Like Us.
Was she?
Okay, I
She was
thought
on the
Wow.
Russian rocket crew.
Good call, Pat. And I've
I
seen
thought
that
so.
movie. Delyn, you know, I used to come home from work and watch Spies Like Us every day for about a year and a half. So I've seen Spies Like Us. I think I can say, without exaggerating, at least 300 times.
Yeah,
And
probably.
I didn't catch that. I'm ashamed.
it's
For
the
shame.
name. It's the name. You don't come across the name Vanessa Angel very often, so it had to be a unique. It's something that you pick up on.
Yeah.
And, you're watching a movie and, oh, that's a nice name. And now 20 years later, you hear the name again. You're like, oh, I remember that name.
Ooh, that's a nice name.
Ew.
Ooh, that's a nice name. Like Ivana A Lot of Sex.
Oh, what was that? It wasn't.
God.
Was it Ivana?
I don't know. What fucking it wasn't that in Spies Like Us. I mean in it's fucking Spy Who Shagged Me.
Austin
Ivana.
Powers.
Yeah, I want a lot of sex or I want a lot of pussy or something. I don't know.
Jesus.
Did you smoke a ball before we started this?
I don't smoke bowls anymore.
Never
God,
Bogart the bong.
never.
Oh my goodness.
I
All right.
have bogarted a bong or two in my day
Get
though.
this train on the rail again.
I'm trying. You guys are like wrangling like, I don't know, puppies. It's tough.
It's like trying to keep cats in a bag.
Wrangling puppies?
Yeah.
The fuck is that?
Have you ever tried to wrangle a bunch of puppies and keep them all on track?
Oh,
It
yeah, all the
don't
time.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
There
was
you
just doing it right before the podcast.
go. What? Oh my God. All right. So back on the farm, Ishmael's father asks his cousin to go find Ishmael and bring him home. Claudia and Roy decide to become partners because Roy's broke and Claudia has $500. There's yet another montage of Ish hustling other bowlers, this time with Claudia's help. After a few good scores, Roy tries to ditch Claudia in the middle of the night at a hotel. However, Claudia is waiting for them in the car. She kicks Roy's ass in the parking lot, but Ishmael overhears their fight and takes off on his own. Roy and Claudia go searching for Ish and find themselves in Roy's hometown. Roy tells Claudia about his past and they make up, and then they hit the road again to search for Ish. So that fight scene is something, huh?
Yeah. So do you know which came out first, this or Dumb or Dumber?
Oh, I don't know.
All right, because they're both made by the same guys, right? These are
Yes,
made by the
the
Farley
Farrelly
brothers.
brothers.
Yeah. So it's funny in Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber was first. That's 1994. This one
Okay,
was
so this is a
1996.
callback to Dumb and Dumber then, because in Dumb and Dumber, the two shitheads, the two dummies, are in a diner having breakfast, and something happens where he throws some salt shake or something, and it ends up hitting a guy, and he goes to kick one of the dumb guys' asses, Lloyd, I think. And in that movie, it's Cam Neely, and he's
Isn't he
Seabass.
Seabass? Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Kick his
Seabass.
ass, Seabass.
Kick his ass, Seabass. So in this one, the lady comes and asks Ish, do you want to dance? Same scene. He says yes. Guy comes in with his crew, but this time it's Roger Clemens, former pitcher of the Red Sox.
I spotted him immediately.
Yeah. So it's it's a callback to Dumb and Dumber, and I noticed it immediately.
Yeah. And obviously, Farrelly Brothers, what are they, Rhode Island? So,
Yeah.
a lot of Boston sports greats are on their hit list.
Yeah. I know the one thing I noticed about this movie was I thought they overused the montage thing, and I wrote that down. We're gonna get a fuckload of montages.
Yeah,
in
I
this
actually
movie.
at some point I think I wrote, and then yet another montage.
Yeah, they overused the montage. It was kind of cheating, but whatever. I get it.
Yeah, I think that like 1, maybe 2, it should be a cap for a flick.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know?
unlike in last week's movie, Sinister, where the writing was so unbelievably tight. They're telling us everything about everything with minimal exposition. This movie, I mean, I don't know if it's because they're thinking that the people watching it are dumb. I think that they just think people are dumb, so they're just giving us these, super dumps with these montages over and over and over. And I was like, all right, I get it.
Yeah, honestly, sloppy storytelling, but
Yeah.
again, like you said, this movie is not made for the members of Mensa, so I get it.
Right.
Far from it.
Yeah.
That's
I
why
mean,
we
Pat,
like
did you have any trouble following it?
Wow.
Did you have any trouble following that joke?
I had trouble following everything you just said.
Oh
I
my
know you
goodness.
did. Okay, go ahead. Oh, fuck. Okay.
Where were we?
I don't know.
Oh, God.
The fight scene.
Yeah.
Okay, also, can we talk about her boobs moving in the fight scene?
Oh, God. That's what we were talking about,
It's
the fight scene.
bizarre.
That
I mean, I know
fight
it's supposed to be
scene-
funny, but it was bizarre to me.
That fight scene was hysterical. She kicked his ass.
That she did.
And
Oh, so good.
it really wasn't necessary. It was funny watching him get his ass kicked by Claudia. But when he went into the boxing of the boobs, and they were clearly like some kind of prosthetic that were just like full of water, I was like, why did you have to go there?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It was a scream watching him get his ass kicked by Claudia. But the boxing boobs was a little over the edge.
I almost think that the point of it is to show that Roy doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of scruples. Because, at first he's like, I don't want to get into a fight with a woman. And then the first thing he does is he starts punching her in the boobs when he starts losing.
Yeah. It was funny after the scene with Roger Clemens. I love when they're in the car and she's like, you're a real jerk. He's like, well, if I hadn't knocked him out, those guys with his crew would have torn him apart. She goes, yeah, but you didn't have to have beers with him afterwards. Well, I didn't want him to think we were in cahoots. You didn't have to rub Tabasco sauce in his eyes.
That I missed the first time. That's the line I was missing the first time.
Oh, I was
Oh, my
fucking laughing
God.
out loud.
Also-
That's why I found it funnier the second time around.
Also,
Yeah.
when she kicked him in the nuts, when she kicked Roy in the nuts, and he goes, you have a wide foot because you hit them both.
Oh, shit. See, now that's
Yeah.
what's great about having one unusually droopy left nut is that it's very difficult to kick me in both of my balls at the same time.
Yes, but I understand recently that was proved to be wrong.
Yes, okay. So let me fill the listeners on a fun little
Please,
fact.
we don't have to.
Delyn and I,
we do.
Delyn and I work out at a gym near our house where we do this kind of strength and conditioning class every week. It's with a group of people. And I was fucking with Delyn. We had boxing gloves on, and I was, fucking being obnoxious like I always am. And I said, you know what? Fuck you.
Not you.
I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna fucking work out with these ladies behind us. There was a group of like 5 ladies behind us. So I turned around and we were doing these squats where you have your legs spread and you squat down. And as I squatted down with my legs spread, Delyn came up behind me and kicked me as hard as she could in the nuts. The tip of her fucking shoe came around the front. I could actually see it as her foot crushed my one good right nut. And I went down, and everybody in the class went, oh. Like there was a hush in the room as I went down.
He is so dramatic. First of all, he did not go down. There was not a hush in the room.
Oh, dude, there were people literally. Some girl went, oh my God, because I take karate there as well. Some girl went, oh my God, you're supposed to defend yourself. Like, some girl actually said that as I lay there trying to get one last breath in.
He wasn't laying there. He was standing up.
Let me tell all of you something, okay? She fucking kicked me as hard as she could in the balls from behind while I was squatting.
First of all, I was trying to kick you in the ass and it was a misfire. I apologized. You have no ass. I'm sorry that you have no ass, and so you have no ass. I went to kick you in the ass because you were pissing me off. You fucking hit me in the face like 5 times in the row with the stupid boxing gloves on, and I had enough. So I went to kick you in the ass.
It's funny
So in
because the
other
tip of
words-
your the
in
tip
other
of her
words, the
sneaker
kick-
hit me in the belly button. So
No, it did not. My God, he's so dramatic, and he's making up half of this.
this is a lot. This is 100% the way it happened.
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
Okay, I'm
No,
gonna
it's
get
not.
some affidavits.
What I'm gleaning out of this is you were a dickhead and you called John it.
Yes.
He fucked around and you found out.
So in other words, it was well deserved.
Yeah.
And I wish I could have watched.
And then we got in the car, outside the parking lot, and she looked at me and she said, "I'm sorry for kicking you in the balls in front of all those people." And I said, "I can dish it out and I can take it. No worries."
No, but legitimately, I was trying to kick you in the ass. It was just, I just didn't do a good job.
You're just not a sniper.
Yeah. And,
I'm not.
and also she was
That's
like,
a small target. I get it.
she also was going at my nuts like fucking Vinatieri in the snowball. She got like a 3-step run up on it and was like trying to kick a 50-yard field goal.
It's not.
You'd end up looking like one of those cartoons with your ass over your head.
Yeah, my nut fucking came out my mouth. Let's move
No,
on.
it did not. Stop it. It did not.
Yeah, lady had to push it back down my throat.
No.
All right,
None of that
let's
happened.
go.
None of that.
All of that happened.
None of
Here
that
we go.
happened.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So they find Ish stripping at a redneck nightclub being run by the guy from 3 O'Clock High. And Roy and Claudia apologize to Ish, and they all resume the trip to Reno with some bonding moments on the way there because it's yet another montage. They finally arrive in Reno for the tournament. We meet a high roller at the craps table, played by Chris Elliott. Ish rolls the dice for him, winning him some big money. As the trio is now eating, we see a reporter interviewing Big Ernie McCracken before the tournament. He sees Roy, and they have words before Ern reveals he had a relationship with Claudia. Ish takes a swing at Ern, breaking his hand on the wall. Claudia returns to her room to find Stanley has followed her to Reno. He threatens to hurt Roy and Ish. She offers him the $42,000 she has, the money that the trio won hustling bowlers. Down at the bar, the gambler offers Roy $1 million to let him sleep with Ish, but it's really just a fantasy Roy was having. Ish suggested Roy play in the tournament, and he agrees to try because what other choice does he have? So, Pat, I can't believe that Big Ern has anyone fooled with his baloney, but it seems like people think he's some kind of angel. And it's like everything that he says is so rude. I can't believe anyone is like buying it.
Right. You and I think, feel the same way about Ern, which is the exact opposite the way Des feels about him. I mean,
that commercial with him with the single mothers.
Unified Fund, and he's befriending the fatherless boys, and he's got the hand on one mom's hip.
Yep.
And as he walks away from him, he gooses her in the ass with the other hand, going to another mom.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, this guy couldn't be more deplorable. There was nothing good about him.
Yeah. He sucked.
Yeah.
Which is why, of course, Des likes him.
I love him.
Yeah, exactly. He's your hero. I get it. But I have to do, I know you think the montage is overworked in this movie. However, this last montage was probably my favorite. Des and I were talking about it before we started this. You got.
It's your favorite because Ish smokes a bong.
No one's stealing my thunder.
Oh God.
First, you've got Roy putting shaving cream on Ish's hand in the back seat and making him scratch his nose with the shaving cream. Now you do it the opposite. You've got Ish putting shaving cream on Roy's hook. And before the scene finishes, it switches to Roy now in the front seat with a bandage on his nose.
Yeah.
I was in tears. He was so angry. Then you've got Claudia celebrating. She pops open the champagne. She goes to hand Ish the bottle. And from a low angle, Ish is like, no, I'm not going to do the champagne. And then it looks like he changes his mind and instead raises a bong to his face. This was hysterical. This is the guy, he can't drink coffee. It's a stimulant. You shouldn't smoke cigarettes. Well, one of my favorite lines, a callback from earlier in the movie. Well, you'd think the people who did the testing on the cigarettes were being pretty accurate about the problems with it. I mean, if you're dead, you can't smoke. And I have to remember this. I'm going to watch the scene again and try and memorize it completely, because this is one I'm going to throw at Des the next time he gives me shit about smoking. That's all I could see. That's all I could see was me and Des, and I was Roy explaining why cigarettes aren't bad for you.
Let me share a vision with the listeners. So we're painters, and Pat is the sprayer for the company, which means he uses a commercial spray gun.
Don't go there.
Pat, I've seen Pat in a room with the windows shut with a commercial sprayer blasting a gallon of paint every 30 seconds in a cloud of vaporized paint, with his respirator resting on the sprayer and a fucking cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
Oh my God.
Holy shit, this man is insane.
The respirator was around my neck. Let's get it right.
Des is airing out everyone's dirty laundry tonight.
I'm fucking dying here. The respirator was around his neck. Holy shit. Okay, let's move on. That's great. All right, so let me give you.
I couldn't breathe it on. I needed a cigarette.
Holy shit, I love that. That's what I love about you. You're insane. So this scene with Chris Elliott and where he comes up and they have the fantasy scene. I love this scene because this is a callback to Indecent Proposal with Woody Harrelson and Robert Redford and what's her name? Demi Moore. So that was a callback to that movie, which I thought was pretty good. And I love in the fantasy, poor Ish is laying on the bed on his stomach with an ice pack on his ass.
Oh God.
So, in fucking Roy's demented fantasy, he's been I
kind of thought it was interesting that Ish hurt his left hand, not his right hand, and he's not going to try to bowl. He's going to let Roy bowl with a rubber hand.
Yeah, I think they just missed that because I saw it too, and I'm like, he's not a left-handed bowler.
Yeah, like why wouldn't she just bowl?
Okay, I'd also like to bring up earlier in the movie, as Roy is counting down on his fingers how many good ways he could be the manager, and he's bending these fingers backwards. Obviously, this is just like a rubber glove,
right.
Just a big, thick, hollow rubber hand.
Yeah.
Can somebody
explain to me how it is he bowls with it? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I know it's a silly movie, but he can't hold the fucking ball.
Yeah, it should have been like, remember in Enter the Dragon, the Bruce Lee movie, where the bad guy is missing the hand? And he's got the glass case, he's got the tiger claw, he's got the bear claw, he's got the fucking hook, I think that they should have had a nice prostate made. Prostate?
Oh my God.
Prostate?
Wow.
They should have had a nice prosthetic made for him that was like in the shape of the three-fingered grip. They should have given him the three-finger grip prosthetic hand that fit into the bowling ball for bowling purposes.
Like, wouldn't it be cool if they had like gambled against Chris Elliott for some money so they could go get the prosthetic hand that had the right grip? And they went and they opened it up and it was like, the MacGuffin in Pulp Fiction when you open it up and it's all glowing gold and it was the hand.
That. I love it.
Wouldn't that have been way better?
It should have been a golden hand.
That too. It would have matched his
awesome.
ball.
Yeah, it would have been awesome. A golden hand. Was that the ball that he had? Did he hold on to it all those years?
Yeah, I think so. And that's the other thing. He wasn't planning on bowling. How does he have that outfit and how does he have that ball? Has it just been sitting in his trunk for 17 years?
Yes.
I bet it stinks.
Easy answer. Yes.
I bet it stinks.
I bet it stinks.
Because you've seen the shape of that car, you know that thing stinks.
Now, so here's the thing too. So he comes out of retirement after 17 years. He hasn't thrown a ball in 17 years, and he comes up one strike short of beating Big Ern McCracken. Seems to me like he threw the towel in a little quick.
I agree.
17 years ago.
I agree.
Like his dad loves him. Okay. He comes from a town where he's a fucking hero. He should have gone back to town and been like, look, this happened. The town gets behind him. They get him the golden fucking prostate, and he's on his way to winning a title.
Again with the prostate.
Prosthetic. They give him the
Again with
golden
the prostate?
prosthetic. Yeah, they give him the golden prosthetic, and he and he goes back to going. So I thought that it was a little bit. I thought his tossing of the towel on life was a little premature.
Yeah, well, obviously it was depression.
Yeah.
You know, he was depressed. He didn't want to face anybody. As he said when he returned home with Claudia, he didn't even go home for his dad's funeral. His dad died 10 years ago. He didn't even go home for it. So,
dick.
yeah, I mean, his dad was so behind him and cared about him so much. You think that would have mattered to him? No. He would have, he would have stayed behind him.
I feel like there were options for Roy that he did not flush out after the accident, if you want to call it an accident. Now, how did that machine remove his hand? Isn't that just where the ball comes back up?
I think if you put it in reverse and it's like rubberized wheels.
Or is it a cleaning? Was that the ball cleaner?
No, it was the ball return.
That's the ball return.
Yeah, that wouldn't remove your hand.
I don't know. It says keep your hands clear.
Pat, let's go down to the local.
Go that analytical on it. How is it none of these bastards were arrested for doing this?
Right.
Pat, let's go down to the local alley and check it out. We'll put your hand in it.
Why don't you put your prostate in it?
No.
Why don't I put my left nut in it?
Oh my God.
Well, that'll give a whole new meaning to the phrase ball return.
Oh, shit.
Oh, all right, strapping kids. We're going to the end.
Okay, I can't wait.
Oh, shoot.
At the tournament, Roy loses his rubber hand on his first roll, but somehow gets a strike anyway. The crowd starts calling him and chanting, "The Rubber Man." Yet another montage happens here. Our last one of the movie. Thank God for that.
Yes.
We're watching both Roy and Ern win their respective battles, setting us up for the big rematch, mano a mano, for the title and $1 million. Thomas, Ish's cousin, shows up at the tournament and takes Ish home. After a close game, Ernie wins by throwing 3 strikes in a row. While walking to his car in the morning, Stanley confronts Roy in the parking lot, thinking Claudia has returned to him. Stan reveals Claudia stole his money and has been talking to Ernie on the phone. He lets Roy go and says he's going after Ernie. 1 week later, we find Roy back at his crappy apartment in Pennsylvania. He's dumping out all his booze. Claudia walks in and reveals that she has 84 grand of Stanley's money. He won it by betting the 42 grand she took against Roy in the bowling tournament. She faked talking to Big Ern to throw off Stanley all along, and she wasn't talking to Ernie. Roy shows Claudia a check for $500,000 he received from Trojan to be the Rubber Man and endorse the company. Back on the farm, Thomas and Ish return home in defeat, but Roy and Claudia are already there with a tale of Ish helping them become better people. They've taken the $500,000 and paid off the bank, saving the land for foreclosure. Roy and Ish say goodbye and share a nice moment. Then Roy and Claudia drive off after Claudia gives Roy back his dad's watch. It's now working. She said all I had to do was wind it. They kiss and drive off into the sunset with the Amish calling, "Goodbye, Brother Munson. Goodbye, whore."
Oh, God. So the ball that Bill Murray is playing with, they found that at a local bowling shop. So that's not something they had made for the movie. I thought that was pretty cool. And I loved it with the rose in it.
Yeah.
And fucking Big Ern is fucking just
And he's
the balls.
talking to it. He's like, one more time.
Come on, just one more time, baby. That's all I need. And it was fucking great. It was great.
add to my dislike for Ern McCracken. Did anyone happen to notice the gadget he was wearing on his hand? That it looked an awful lot like something you see on a baseball player's helmet protecting his fucking finger.
Yeah. I saw that.
I couldn't believe. I didn't realize what it was at first. I thought maybe it was like some kind of a glove. And then I saw it from a different angle. And it's a hard piece of plastic, something that looks like an addition to a baseball helmet after someone's taken one in the noggin.
Oh, I love it.
I saw that. I'm like, oh my God. And how horrid his outfits were. Every match that he played, he had a different, pathetic. Oh my God. His outfits were horrifying. I was just looking at the last scene when they were, when Roy was going against Big Ern. And the very last strike Ern has to throw, we were talking about hair. After he makes the throw, I'm not shitting you. You should watch the scene again because it made me laugh my ass off. His hair, his comb over, was literally coming from above his ear and was now flopped over the other side. It was no longer combed over. It was
Yeah.
now flopped over, almost like a hair halo.
Yep.
It was ridiculously funny.
Both comb overs were like characters of their own.
They were great.
It couldn't have looked any worse unless it was windblown.
And then at the end, when Big Ern shakes fucking Roy's hand and then pulls his hand off and throws it in the crowd.
Oh, God. The only thing that I kind of was hoping for is the build-up to Ern needing 3 strikes. Of course, the way Dez is looking at it, the way he loves Ern, he's already certain that Ern's going to win this. Now,
Oh, yeah.
I'd never seen this before, so the first time I'm watching it, all I kept saying to myself is, this dick can't win. He can't win. He's a dickhead.
Oh, he wins.
And then the bastard won.
Yep.
Yeah. And honestly, most movies that you see, they don't win. Roy would have won. And
Yeah.
I think that they did that on purpose because, Roy still wins at the end,
Right.
Yes.
That's
just in a different way.
when I saw the ending and the contract he got with the condom company,
I love that.
because he's the rubber man.
Right.
When I saw that he got the check and he had said to Claudia, it's only being split one way, you had to know that it was going to Ish.
And that
Yeah,
was
that's it.
great. And you see Roy pouring all his booze down the kitchen sink. So you see that, he's going to turn his life around. And it was a nice ending.
You also have to wonder how long before Ish discovers that huge tattoo on his back.
I forgot
that
all
was
about that.
so funny. He's totally freaking out about the little 4-leaf clover on his chest. He looks at it in the mirror, and Roy almost shits himself when he sees his back. And then he turns around, what? And you see what's on his back, and you're like, holy crap.
Because Roy says, so yeah, no big deal. We'll burn it off with a cigarette. It's nothing. He's like, and then Ish looks at it, he's like, I kind of like it. Little 4-leaf
That's
clover.
not so bad.
It's not so bad. There's so many of those scenes where, what do you think a cigarette is? It's a stimulant, just like coffee. Really? Okay. Well, then give me a large coffee with extra cream and 2 sugars and extra cream. Lots of cream.
Also, when you just said cigarette, it made me think of the scene where Lynn Shay takes the cigarette out of her mouth. She spits in her hand and then she rubs the cigarette out in her
Puts
hand.
the cigarette out in her hand.
Fucking awesome.
How about this, Jess? I mean, Des, you've got to. I'm thinking when you saw just prior to that scene, as Roy's leaving his apartment, and he sees the 2 guys out in front. I can't see you not seeing me. The guy with the cigarette hanging out of his mouth
And the oxygen tank.
running into his nose.
Absolutely.
Can you get sick if you drink your own piss?
But my favorite part of it was Roy says to the man, how's life? Taking too long.
Taking forever. It's taking forever.
All I
love
can
that
see is I'm
line.
watching that, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm betting Dez is seeing me.
I
And
love
he
that
can't
line.
wait to say that.
Oh, God. How's life going? It's taking forever.
You let me down, man.
Oh, yeah. Pat's the only guy I know that can smoke an electronic cigarette and a real cigarette at the same time. I've seen it. Anyway, so that
Can't
brings
get
us...
enough nicotine, man.
No, you cannot. No, you cannot. And we're going to get a young John Popper at the end from the Blues Traveler singing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
I have a question for the trivia master.
Sure, hit me.
The announcer at the beginning of the $1 Million Tournament,
Yeah.
was that the same guy as the lead singer for Blues Traveler?
Well, that's who's singing at the end. That's John Popper at the very end.
Right. But was the singer of Blues Traveler the announcer for the tournament?
I'm
Because
not.
they had the same shaped face and the hair. Obviously, at the end, the Amish band, the beards were fake. But
Yeah.
when I watched it the second time around and I'm seeing this guy, I'm like, geez, I wonder if that's the lead singer. So I thought maybe the trivia master might figure this one out.
I didn't when I was watching it, I didn't notice, but I'm at that scene and let me just take a quick peek and I will
I bet the credits would have the name of the announcer. It had the name of everybody else on the planet.
Yeah, I thought that the announcers they used were all real ESPN guys. Like I know that
Not
Berman.
those guys. Not those guys.
Okay.
The guy right at the beginning when all the bowlers were lined up getting ready to throw the big first ball.
Oh, at the big
announcer
tournament.
with the microphone in the black tuxedo with the glasses. He looked like the lead singer for Blues Traveler.
And you're talking about at the end of the movie at
Yes.
the big tournament. Okay, I got
Yes.
you. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, so much for Trivia Master.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't notice, to be honest with you.
Okay, I'm looking at the IMDb. Bowling tournament announcer is listed as John Popper.
Good eye, Pat. Who says you're
Okay.
overly stoned?
He's
Everybody?
picked up on two of them.
Okay,
Oh,
that's
shit.
good. That's 2 for me on this one, wise ass.
Man, you were razor sharp tonight, huh? You were bringing your Roy Muncie game tonight.
Hey, I'm not getting Munsoned.
Oh, you, dude! If there's anybody I know who is a Munson, it's you,
Oh dear.
Pat Munson. It works. Okay.
No, I don't.
No, it don't. Okay,
No,
so
never,
I think
never.
I think we did it tonight.
I think
do.
you've aired out enough of everyone's dirty laundry tonight.
I think
Absolutely.
We did it. I think we did it tonight.
I think he needs
Oh,
another kick in the
boy.
balls, Glenn.
Oh God,
I
dude! Do
wasn't
you know how
trying
many
to
times?
kick him in the balls. I swear.
All right, so
All
here
right,
we
another
go.
attempted kick
No,
in the
no,
ass, but you
do
got to
not bring
record
it
it
up
this
again.
time.
Don't bring it up again.
She swats me in the balls at
Hey, do they have
least
security cameras there?
5. Oh, I know. I would love to see it. I should ask them. Do you guys have a security camera in here? Because
Yeah,
I'd
you
love
got
to
to check
see
it,
that.
man. Because I would really love to see that posted on your YouTube channel.
Dude, that would be like that would go viral because it was something. Yeah, she swats me in the balls like we're in a college fraternity like 5 times
Vanilla
a day.
nut taps.
Vanilla nut taps. That's what you call them.
No,
vanilla
nut taps.
Vanilla nut taps. Yeah, so she's vanilla nut tapping me on the reg anyway.
Yeah, well, it does a lot. It's not like I'm just swatting at him for no reason. Like, do you want me to start airing your dirty laundry? Because I
Sure.
got a list.
All right, let's hear it.
The 10 stupidest things he's ever done.
Oh my god, we'll be here for an hour.
There's actually, for the listeners out there is a list, actually.
There is.
I had heartburn one time, so I had bought what I thought was like
Is this
milk of
number one?
magnesia.
No,
This is not number
you did
one,
not
but
think it was milk of magnesia. You thought it was like Pepto.
I thought it was like this like creamy Pepto thing that was going to soothe my stomach. So I was drinking it and my heartburn wasn't going away. But over 3 days, I developed such a bad case of diarrhea. I literally thought I was going to die. So I went to my wife and I said, I'm sick. There's something wrong with me. We need to go to the hospital. And she said, well, what have you changed? And I said, well, I've been drinking this. And she looked at it and I had been drinking
Milk of magnesia.
laxative.
Yeah.
I had been drinking laxative for 3 days. And you're supposed to take it just a little bit at a time. But since my heartburn wasn't going away, I was chugging this shit. And
What have you even been
yeah.
on your second bottle?
Yeah, I fucked myself up, man. I had lost some weight and I was shitting a lot.
Yeah, that's on the list.
Oh fuck.
That's
Okay.
classic.
Let's
Yeah.
do some
We should
rewatch
wrap
scores.
this up.
Let's wrap this up. Pat, what's your rewatch score for Kingpin?
I would have to give this a 4.
A 4.
And-
Love
yeah.
it.
And it's mostly because, again, the first time I watched it, I was kind of cynical. I'm like, wow, this is going to be really silly, especially in the very opening. I can't remember what the opening scene was that started.
Yeah, when he
Bowling
walks
thing.
into the bowling alley and takes the pizza.
Yeah, and it's just, but the second time I watched it completely. And that's when you pick up on the silliness and the one-liners, like when and the replies to Roy, how's life treating you? Taking forever. That's just hysterical. That is such great writing. And
Yeah.
I caught more lines like that the second time around. Even the hot sauce in the eyes. I didn't pick up on that the first time, but I did pick it up on the second time, and it was even funnier. It made the whole scene funnier.
See, it's funny because talking to you over the last 3 days, knowing that you watched this in 2 parts to start, I was like, oh boy, he didn't like it. And I'm like, this is going to get a bad score. And then I talked to you again, and you're like, well, I'm watching it a second time just to watch it. And I'm like, he didn't like it, but he's going to be a pro, and he's going to take one to know the movie. And then when I talked to you today and you said, I'm watching it for a third time, I was like, wow, like that was unexpected. And I thought that you were going to like this movie for Bill Murray, and your knock on it was going to be there wasn't enough Bill Murray and you wouldn't like it. Where at the end of the day, Bill Murray was really not the selling point for you, but maybe even the crutch or that's not the way I want to put it. But
he was my least favorite character.
Right,
Roy
Chink in
was
the
my
armor.
favorite character.
Chink in the armor. So yeah, so that's very interesting. So 4 out of Pat, that's very unexpected. Delyn, what was your rewatch score for Kingpin?
So I'm not a huge fan of gross out comedy. I get like it's cheap laughs,
Mhm.
Not I don't know. There was a lot of scenes where I was like cringing and like, ugh. But there was some funny parts. There was some, and I appreciated like the when they got a little smarter, I appreciated it and it got a laugh. But there was definitely some gross parts where I was just like the bull scene at the farm and
That was the best. The best.
like just the horse foot, the horse hooves, and just gross. Just
the horse hooves was too much.
Yeah, so I definitely had an issue with that because it's just not my cup of tea. I'm definitely looking for a little bit of a smarter comedy, but there was some funny things. I'm not going to go highbrow so far as to just say a little. I don't need like when he was flossing and all the crap was coming out of his mouth. It was like,
that
oh
was
God,
awesome.
It was just disgusting.
That was so awesome.
It was disgusting. But I'm gonna give it 2.5. I know that's not a great score, but that's how I feel about it, and I'm giving 0.5 for Randy Quaid in drag. So I'll give it a 3.
So which we did not talk about in the podcast, but yeah,
I wanted to bring that up. I need to understand how at a club called Stiffies that is clearly a strip joint, how the hell does Ish get drag on stage? Who the hell is in this club?
Yeah, I wasn't sure what kind of club it was. It wasn't really made clear if it was the kind of club where you'd want to see.
What the hell kind of club do you think Stiffies is gonna be?
Well, I knew it was a strip joint, but I didn't know if it was like a drag strip joint or I just didn't know what it was. But I'm sure there's a drag strip joint is probably awesome place I would love to go. But anyway, let's not go down these strange routes again.
Okay, but I do have to bring up one more thing because
go ahead.
We missed this earlier, and this is an important part of the movie.
Okay.
Yep.
As the three have become a team now, and they're scamming their way towards Reno, and Vanessa Angel is in the red outfit, and she's distracting this team. They go to another town, and she's in this outfit, and she's distracting this team. But then they get to one town.
Yeah.
And it seems like her charms aren't working as well.
Yes, because they're
has an
sheepfuckers.
idea and whispers into Roy's ear. And the next thing you know, the old timers can't seem to get the ball down the alley right because they're being distracted by
a sheep, because they're sheepfuckers.
Sheep. And the look. How about the look the first guy throws the sheep with the wink as he walks back after throwing a gutter ball? I almost peed myself. I was laughing so hard.
Oh yeah, all farmers fuck sheep. You didn't know that?
Oh,
I had to bring that up. This podcast could not go by without bringing up the sheep.
Oh, like with everything else we said tonight, I love farmers, and I know they don't fuck sheep. Not all of them, anyway. Okay, so that's a 2.5 for Delyn, a 4 for Pat, and let me give you my rewatch score. So, had you asked me this before I watched this movie for the podcast, I would have said this was probably a 4.75 to a 5. I remembered it a little bit better than it was. This movie's one downfall is it's a little one note. And it's one note through the whole movie. There's not a lot of highs, there's not a lot of lows. It's just kind of, and yeah, so it's a good movie. I would give this movie 3.75. I loved Big Earn. But like the Lynn said, it got a little, some of the jokes got a little tired in one note by the end. So yeah, it was a great flick. If you haven't seen this movie, Kingpin, what are you waiting for? Go see it. It's a great movie. I give this movie I'm struggling with this one. Let's say
Sounds like it.
3.89.
Wow.
3.8.
You're going real heavy on that.
3.89 rewatches.
That's a deep score.
It is a deep score. 3.89 rewatches. This one jarred something loose for me.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
So, like always, I want to thank you, Delyn, because I love fighting with you and then watching a movie and reviewing it. Pat, I always have fun talking about movies with you, as you know, and you brought it tonight. You were just sharp as a tack tonight, picking up on all sorts of shit. I want to thank the listeners for coming by and listening to the show and supporting the show, and it's actually really starting to grow, and I appreciate it. I want to say again, make sure you go to the Facebook page. Hey, did you ever see that movie? Join the group. Delyn, where are we on social media?
It's on Facebook page. It's Hey, did you ever see that movie? And then if you want to email us, it's Hey, did you ever see that movie @gmail.com.
Yeah, so email us. Let's hear what you think about the show and how we can improve it. And don't say getting a new fucking someone to replace me, because that's not happening. It's my show.
Oh, man.
Next week, we will be back where we will be watching, reviewing, and discussing True Romance with Mickey. So, until then, let me ask you one question. And Pat, don't say what like last time. I'm not really asking you a question.
What?
Hey. Hey, did you ever see that movie? See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
It all comes down to this role. Roy Munson, a man-child with a dream to topple bowling giant Ernie McCracken.